mystery of Christianity is that hope has a human face. Hope has human hands. Hope has a human heart. And when you and I look into that face, Jesus' face, you and I know that we're loved all the way at the bottom. Have you ever felt that? Have you ever felt being loved all the way to your roots? Like an all-encompassing love, a love that sees every part of you. All of your strengths, yes, and all of your weaknesses. All of your gifts and all of your failures. All of your idiosyncrasies. All of the ordinary experiences of your life. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your desires. What if you and I met a love that saw it all and encompassed it? Was actually bigger than it. Took it into account. Then you and I know that we could begin again. If you meet a love like that, you know that you can begin again. And that gives us hope. That like what has transpired before doesn't have to dictate the rest of my life. Doesn't have to dictate the terms on which I'll relate to people and relate to God. This happened in my life. I was in seminary studying to be a priest, and I went on an 8-day silent retreat. No phone, no TV, nothing like that. It's beautiful. And all you get to talk to is God. And a spiritual director that you meet once a day for an hour. And as I was meeting with this director, he kept encouraging me, tell God, and let God speak for himself. Have you ever done this where you're like, I know what he's going to say. Why should I tell him? I know what he's going to say. I know how he's going to respond to me. I know what's going to happen. Well, maybe. He is different than you. He is unique. He is a person, the Father. What if you just let him be himself and relate to you as he wants to relate to you? And so, in a moment of grace and inspiration, I did that. I'd been deeply hurt in my past, and I'd been carrying it for almost 2 decades at that point. 18 years that I'd been carrying. And I just shared the pain with God in a very raw way. And he surprised me. I let him speak for himself, and he surprised me. And totally transformed me from the inside out. He healed me at the roots. And he made me new. I was loved at the bottom. I could begin again. I had hope. Have you ever been loved at the bottom? Sometimes what can happen, and you're in my life, if I hope I can say this so gently, is there's a doubt in our hearts that says, there's no way I'm going to be loved at the bottom. There's no way I'm going to be loved just as I am, for who I am. I mean, if they really knew me, someone really knew me, and then you and I can fill in the blank. For me, it was always, they'd leave me. Then they'd leave me. And you and I, when we're faced with that, when we don't know if we're going to be loved at the bottom, it's just so exhausting. Always trying to put your best foot forward. Always trying to look your best. Always never making a mistake. never failing. We can do this in our jobs, we can do this in our marriages, we can do this in relationships, we can do this with God. Instead of actually going to God as we are, allowing Him to be as He is, and meeting us, we always feel like I have to put on a mask. But what if you just let the mask come down a little bit? At least for God. Maybe not necessarily for others yet. Because not everyone is actually worthy. Not everyone is actually loving. But He is. And so what if it was Lord, I just want to let you see me, just a little. What if you got to see me as I really am? And let you be you. I'll be me, and you be you. And I want to meet. You see, this is what happened when Jesus came. God came in the flesh and met people right where they were, and it transformed them. His love encompassed all of them, and it made them new, and it gave them hope. And then they went out into Rome, and they went into Samaria, and they went into Greece, and they went into China, and they went into India, and they went into Europe. And people said to them, "You're different. Why do you act the way you act?" And St. Peter says, always be ready to give a reason for why you have hope. Always be ready to give a reason for why you have hope. And those early Christians, when they met Romans and they met Greeks and they met Macedonians and they met whoever they met, they carried within them a love that the world can't give and the world can't take away. And they said, this is why I have hope. I've been met by love. That love actually loved me so much that He died for me. And that love is so powerful, death can't conquer it. And that love rose. And I ate and drank with that love after He rose. That's what the apostles got to say. I want to be a Christian. Mother Teresa, this is the last point. She was asked by Archbishop Fulton Sheen one time. Fulton Sheen was saying to her, Mother Teresa, 15,000 people from this hospice that you're at have become Christian because of you. And how did you do it? How did you preach the gospel to them? I mean, they were dying on the streets. You welcomed them into your hospice care. You're taking care of them. And she said, well, this is what I did. After I took the people into the hospice, I cared for them and showed them love. And then I just asked them, would you like to hear about Christ? Could I tell you a little bit about Jesus? And these people said to her, is Christ like you? Is Christ like you? And she said, no, but I try to be like Him. Then I want to be Christian. It's that simple. Mother Teresa, here are these men. They've been neglected all their lives. They're dying on the streets because of poverty. How in the world are you ever going to speak to them about Jesus? I picked them up. I brought them into the home. I cared for them and showed them love. And then I said, could I tell you a little bit about Christ? Is Christ like you? No. But I try to be like Him. Then I want to be Christian. Today, you and I are invited to this place for wherever walk of life you came from, and for whatever reason you're here. You're here. What if you just showed up as you are? and you let him show up as he is? And what if his love enveloped you completely? It's already taken everything of your life into account. He knows it all. He can meet you at the bottom. And if you let him, he will surprise you.